Okay. Interested to see what are some things that you guys wrote down and finished up already. What did you put down?
It means a life-changing experience. This will show how hard work pays off.
Cool. What who else is done? Javier, you finished? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I put faster to me means getting ahead in sales and once improving in sales to get to the 30-30.
Cool. What else? Who else is still this is finished up? Nacho, what'd you put down?
I put it'll like give me an incentive to like work hard right away and it'll help me like build up the experience I need to be successful.
Cool. You guys some people still right. So I'll let you guys kind of finish off. Andrea, what'd you get down?
It's important to me because it's big cash, good experience, recognition, and achieved goals.
Cool. Awesome. Big cash. All right. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and we're going to move on a little bit from here. So what we'll do, okay, and we're going to come back to this sheet in a second. Now I want to kind of go through like the what, so the how, right? So again, it kind of breaks down to these two things. Work hard, get the right coaching. That's really what it's like, okay? The coaching structure that we have, by the way, the way we coach you is number one, we have our communication guidelines that we'll give you guys this weekend. Everyone on the team does that already, but if you guys want the extra coaching, we have workshops every single morning, the Champions Club workshops. So from 8 to 9:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, that's kind of what I do. Almost every person this summer, we already had like 10 to 12 people that have had 10K fast starters this summer. Almost all of them, I think actually every single one comes to most, if not all of those meetings in the mornings. Just because what I'm going to show you guys in a second is the name of the game is going to be getting your appointments booked up, right? And also getting that extra coaching every single morning. That's kind of our outlet to do so because, you know, there's so many, there's 20 people here, you know, or whatnot. I don't even know the exact number, but, and there's only one of me. You know what I mean? So when you come into those workshops, number one, you're at the perfect phone time, which I'll talk about, but you're also getting a chance to access like one-on-one, me or Eddie. We can walk you through and answer a ton of your questions and kind of help give you some coaching guidance for at least your first couple of days on the job. And just kind of give you the foundation. Doesn't mean you always do that every time you work here. After your first 10 days, you know, some people come in every once in a while, but, you know, for the most part, you probably wouldn't be coming to all of our morning meetings. So let me walk you guys through like the actual, like I said, the numbers, the how, and what you want to do. So like I mentioned, the name of the game is going to be getting the amount of appointments. You'll soon realize that the sales are not that, you know, big of a deal. If you can get the, you know, the appointments in, the sales will come. So let me give you an idea of how many appointments that you usually need to complete in order to sell 10K in your first 10 days, okay? So the first thing, okay, here's the first number you want to put down is 20 appointments, okay? If you do 20 appointments gives you a shot at selling 10K, okay? I'd say it gives you a good shot at selling 10K. Now, I'll be honest, you know, I wouldn't guarantee it. I wouldn't, you know, bet money on it or anything like that too, but it does give you a shot. You can sell 10K in a whole lot less appointments. I mean, Alex Stubblefield, she sold 10K in 3 appointments, right? First appointment was $7,000, next one was 2, and next one was 1, right? She sold in the first 24 hours of training. Nico Prenda, same thing. You could sell on 10 appointments. If on your first 10 appointments, you sell a Homemaker Signature complete set, you know, boom, you already hit it too. You know, so that also can happen. But what we want to do here is we want to focus on the effort and the energy versus the results. Some of you might go off and pop off and have awesome results like that. We want to focus on like, how do I hit it even if I don't have crazy results? You know, how do we hit it just based on purely off the statistics, off the numbers? And I'm going to walk you guys through that too. So 20 appointments gives you a shot at doing it, okay? Here's the number next number you want to know, all right? 30 appointments gives you, how do I put this? A pretty damn good shot, meaning I wouldn't, you know, guarantee it, but if I was a betting man, which I am, I would bet money on it, right? So, you know, I would say more than likely you probably would sell 10K if you did 30 appointments in your first 10 days. And here's the magic number that you want to know, okay? This is the number that I tell everybody. It's 40 appointments, okay? 40 appointments. That's the magic number, because if you do 40 appointments, I don't think I have ever in my entire career seen someone do 40 appointments and not sell $10,000 in their first 10 days from any office, let alone, you know, someone working in my office. So if you do 40 appointments, guys, you will 100% guaranteed sell your first $10,000 in sales. Now, like I said, you could go out and have awesome results. Like that's what happened to Amy Rod. she was just focused on doing 40 appointments. She got 40 appointments completed in her first 10 days. Now she still had 26K because she had really awesome results when she went out, but she was planning on saying, hey, no matter what, whether if I go out and do awesome or if I do, terrible, I'm going to try to make sure I get at least 40 appointments completed. And again, you want to focus on the energy and effort versus the results. Now, if the name of the game is getting the right amount of appointments, okay, by the way, to kind of break this down, that kind of might sound a lot, but think about it this way. It's over 10 days, right? So 2 a day, 3 a day, 4 a day, right? Is doing 4 appointments in a day really challenging, guys? No, not at all. Come on in. Oh, wait, that's just so yeah, what's up, man? I'm going to grab a seat. Yeah, guys, it's definitely not. But here's what is challenging. Doing 4 appointments in a day, multiple days in a row, right? Doing that for 10 days straight, that is tough and that is challenging. So that's something you kind of want to think about as you walk through everything, guys. So if you're doing 40 appointments, what I'm saying is getting it consistently lined up in front of you. Now, if the name of the game is getting the right amount of appointments, right, what do you also need to have to fuel those appointments? How do you book up an appointment?
Numbers.
Yeah, you have a list of numbers to call, right? So if the name of the game is getting the right appointments, you got to have the right amount of people to call. So the kind of number I gave you guys yesterday was the 3 times rule, which basically states that you need about 3 times the amount of phone numbers as appointments you want to complete in your first 10 days on the job, okay? So if I wanted to complete 20 appointments, how many numbers should I probably have? About 60, okay? Say 60 phone numbers. If I wanted to complete 30, how many do I want to have? 90. And if I would want to complete 40, how many would I want to have? 120, okay? So here's a cool thing too, by the way. If you really put in a lot of work and you get somewhere between 90 to 120 names that you can call or you can reach out to and contact, the cool thing is if you do 40 appointments, imagine how fast of a start you'll get off to. When you have 100 people to call, if you schedule 40 appointments, think about, number one, how many recommendations you're going to have after doing 40 appointments. And you could still see the other, let's see, whatever that is, another 80 people that you had numbers for that you still haven't seen yet. Right? And from there, the job gets really, really fun and really, really easy. Your skill set's higher. You have a ton of cut to show. Everything you do is a little bit easier, and you always have like plenty of people to call, and you go and just see your best people and just spend your time with your very best customers. Cool. So that's kind of what it does when you're leveraging that. Okay. Let's come up for air for a second. I don't know. What are the first things that you guys are taking away from this so far? We're about to dive into some more here, but what are the first things you guys are kind of learning, or light bulbs started going off for you?
More numbers now. More numbers.
Cool. Yeah.
It's like makes me feel safe that you haven't had anyone that made the 40 appointments and didn't get the 10.
Cool. Yeah. So just focus in on knowing like the right numbers and stuff. Cool. What else? Alrighty, let's keep moving. So if the name of the game is getting appointments, if you need numbers to fuel that, okay, I want to help walk you guys through how to get, more names and numbers, is the first thing. And we're going to walk over through some other things. So the first thing you want to think about is like, who are the types of people that I can go see? So there's something called the 4 gears. This is what I would put down in your notes. These are 4 gears. Does anyone in here drive a manual car or has driven one? Okay. So it's kind of like that. We call it 4 gears for a reason. So who are like the first types of people that you're seeing? Who are you seeing this weekend? Family and friends, okay? So the first group, I just write FNF. That stands for friends and family. Cool? And why do we see those people first?
They're most comfortable.
Yeah, they're most comfortable. Yeah, cool. But they're the easiest customers first. So these are people that I'll put down right here. So these are people that you know them well, right? So you already have a relationship with them. You know them personally. And you are also affiliated with them, meaning like you see them, right? They're not like, it's like not like you haven't seen them in like 5 years and so that too. It's like your family or close friends, right? So family and friends, and we start with those people first. Those are the easiest people to see right off the bat. Okay. The second group of people that we see, it's called acquaintances. I'll abbreviate it ACQ, acquaintances. Who can give me like an example of maybe an acquaintance?
Past teacher.
Okay, yeah, past teacher, like, maybe an old teacher or something like that too, okay? Here's the deal. An acquaintance is someone that you know well, but you're not affiliated with them, right? So maybe it's like a real old friend from like middle school or high school if you've been in college for a while. And it's like, hey, if I would have done this like 3 or 4 years ago, would have been super cool to hit them up. But now it's kind of a little weird because we don't talk as much, right? So it's like, yeah, we're kind of like an acquaintance. So like you know them, but like you're not really affiliated with them. very much anymore. Okay, that's the second group of people. The third group is called directories / lists. Okay, and so these are people that you don't know them personally, but you are affiliated with them, right? So think about like, or someone give me an example of this.
Siblings,
Okay, so would you say someone's parents?
like your siblings' parents.
Siblings' parents? Yeah,
No, like
exactly.
Siblings' friends.
Siblings, friends, parents. Like my little brother's baseball team. That was a great directory. One of the best people I saw. I didn't know any of them. They didn't really know me, but all of them knew me as Colton's older brother. You know. So think about like if you go to church, right? Your church directory, right? So like you are affiliated with all those people, but you might not know them personally. So you can actually reach out to them and say like, hey, this is so and so. I don't think we actually met before, but I actually go to church with you at blah blah blah. You know, does that make sense to everybody? Same thing. It's like you live in the same neighborhood as them, so your neighborhood directory, or maybe it's your school directory. It's like, hey, I don't think we met before, but I go to school with your son or daughter at blah blah blah. So someone that you have an affiliation with. This does not mean like someone else's directory list. Like you need to have some type of affiliation with it, but something you're affiliated, a group you're involved with, but you just don't know the people on that list personally, right? So that's the third type of people we can call. And the very last group is recommendations. I'll abbreviate that REX. And you know, a lot of people in here in the room won't even see those people for a pretty good while in the job. In fact, some people don't even see them till the very end of the summer, just because there's so many people in these categories that you could see. And so you want to be careful here, because a real recommendation is someone that like you don't know, they don't know you, you have zero affiliation with them. Like, so you don't know them at all, they're not affiliated with you. Like, you have no affiliation with them other than the fact that they were just recommended to you by that person. So, you know, so you want to be careful here, guys, because that's what a real recommendation is. Now, let me clarify, right? You all are going to get a lot of recommendations this weekend. The cool thing is that oftentimes a lot of your initial recommendations are going to be people that fall into these two categories. So a lot of people that you're already kind of like, come on in. People that you're already acquainted with, or people that you already have some type of affiliation with, but like now that you're recommended to them, it's like a lot less weird to call them. Does that make sense, everybody? So you're definitely going to want to see some of those people, probably with even in your first 10 days. So here's what I want to share with you guys, okay? So these two lists right here, okay? We call them the chicken list. We also call them like the now list, meaning like these are the people that you're going through and making your calls, and you're walking down the list and you're like, all right, cool. So I'm going to call this person, I'll call this person, I'll call this person, and then you go to the next one. You guys know what I'm talking about? So, you know, that there's the people on the chicken list, right? And so, you know, here's what I'll share with you. Everyone has, I mean, we see have some people, some of you guys in the room have like huge friends and family. You can see them the entire summer and you literally never see anyone else. Other of y'all are, you know, on the opposite end of the spectrum. Like you've got a couple friends and family you can see this week, your first weekend, and then they're all gone. Like you've got no one else to see. And then, you know, for most people, they have enough friends and family to kind of line up their first, you know, 10 days on the job. To line up your fast start at least. And after that, you know, you start seeing like other people. So here's the cool thing though, is that, you know, as far as what's going on, man, how are you? As far as friends and family goes, okay, you know, you might have a small group one, but everyone, as long as you've been living in like the country or the state for the past year, right, everyone has big list 2 and big 3, right? You just got to tap into them. So, you know, the tip that I kind of gave you guys is don't be chicken. So here's the high flyer tip, right? High flyer tip is don't be chicken, because if you want to be a high flyer, right, and you want to achieve the high results, and then the name of the game is getting the right appointments, getting the right amount of phone numbers, a lot of times you got to make sure you tap into these 2 lists. So let me walk you guys through this for a second, right? If you call someone up, let's pretend you call an acquaintance or, you know, someone that you're affiliated with that you don't really know well. You call them up and, you know, try to schedule an appointment with them. What's the worst thing that happens? You say no, or even worse, they say no and like they're rude, right? They're really nasty to you on the phone, like, oh my gosh, how dare you call me and ask me to help you out with something that you're working on, you know? Like, well, I don't know, whatever they say, it's really, really rude, okay? So that's like the worst thing that happens. Now, there's a saying in customer service, the customer's always right. Is that really true? No, okay, is it ever like okay to just be rude to someone? No. However, you have to realize that number one, if they're being rude to you on the phone, probably has literally nothing to do with you, probably just having a bad day. Number two, I would much rather have someone be really rude to me over the phone than me schedule an appointment with them and have to sit down with them for an hour and then be rude to my face, all right? Like I said, and then, you know, it's probably their loss. You know, they're just missing out on it too. That's really the worst thing that happens, by the way, okay? Now that's the worst. Let me talk to you about like the best thing that happens. Okay, the best thing that happens is you have a person that like Nancy Bourne, right? This is my 3rd grade teacher, right? So talk about that for like a funky kind of weird person to call. Now I'm a senior in high school, by the way, when I'm calling this lady. So I'm a senior in high school, and this is my 3rd grade teacher. I have not seen her since maybe 5th grade. Maybe since like the last time I left in 5th grade is the last time I saw her in elementary school. And so I knew she like lived locally in Jupiter in my area, whatever. So I had her on my list, and like someone else had mentioned it to her. So I wanted to call her. And like the only reason I called her is like my manager basically, of course, he's like, "Hey, who's that?" I was like, I don't really know if I want to see her. He's like, "No, just give her a ring. Call her right now." So anyways, I ended up calling her up, right? I don't know, I was super nervous. Like my mom would see her like the store or something like that sometimes, but other than that, never really talked to her. So I remember calling her, I'm like, "Hi, Miss Bourne. This is Andrew Evans calling. I'm not sure if my name rings a bell." I'm actually, she just like cuts me off. She goes, "Andrew Evans? Like, oh my gosh, like how are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, good. Like, yeah, do you remember me?" I was like, she's like, "Yes, I remember you. Like, like how have you been? Like, how's it feeling? Like, what grade are you in now? Like, oh my gosh, like, where did the time pass?" She's like, "Oh, I saw your mom, at Publix the other day." I'm like, "Oh, nice. Well, Miss, Miss Bourne, actually the reason I'm calling is I just started a job show at Cutco." And she's like, "Oh, you're showing Cutco?" She's like, "Yeah, we love Cutco. We have like all the stuff already." And she's like, "Wait a second, are you trying to set up an appointment with me?" I was like, "Yes." And she's like, "All right, when do you want to come over? Like, when works?" So we ended up getting an appointment. Super nice on the phone. I hadn't even talked to her again, like in literally almost 10 years. And so I ended up going over to the house, and she already owned Cutco. So she bought like an extra like $400 to $500 worth of stuff. So nothing really too crazy in terms of sales wise. But what ended up happening is it's still a sale, I'll take it. And what ended up happening is she ended up recommending me to I think it was a list of like 20 or 25 people, okay, in her neighborhood in Jupiter Inlet Colony. And from those 25 people, I saw almost 15 of them. And I ended up selling almost $35,000 in that neighborhood that summer alone. She was the first person I saw there. And she ended up, I basically got me on a spree to see almost everyone in that little colony. It's called Jupiter Inlet Colony. It's like right on the water. It was like a perfect place to do presentations. And I sold almost 40 grand in that neighborhood that summer, specifically just because she recommended me to everyone in that group. And it got to the point where I started sitting down with customers, and I'd be like, "Hey, Miss Jones, so this is a homemaker set. This is set for people who don't really do a lot of cooking. So this is like, like for instance, you probably know like Sandy across the street. Like, yeah, they don't even cook. They have no kids. So like they just have a homemaker set. Come on in." And then you got people that like a complete set, which is like Michelle Burt. Yeah, she probably always has guests over, right? Yeah, exactly. Like so they cook all the time. So they have the complete set. And then like for people like in between, do you know like Stacy over there? Okay, cool. Yeah. So then your other neighbor, like they have like the signature set. But which one did you want? Like that's how they went. Okay. So I'm giving an example, right? But that's like the best thing that happens. And you'll be really surprised for a lot of our top reps, it's just been, 1 to 2 people sometimes in this category or realm that if they wouldn't have given that call, they wouldn't have like gone into a whole entire world of recommendations and circles and things like that too. So again, the bottom line that I'm going over here, right, for you is if you want to be a high flyer, don't be what? Don't be chicken, right? So, and you want to make sure you see your top people first. So here's what I want you guys to do a second. And I know some of y'all are coming into the workshop late or just we're about to get started training. We got started with the workshop a little bit later. So lucky you guys can listen to the rest, but just take some notes. But I know some stuff is kind of going over your heads because you guys are coming in later. So here's what I would do, okay, is go ahead and I would write down on a separate sheet of paper, maybe on our list, right? Who are your top 5 like chicken list customers? Who are your top 5 customers? Top 5 people in list 2 and 3. Maybe you have the phone numbers for them. Maybe you don't yet. But who are like the top 5 people that's like, all right, if I saw these people, like this could really set me up. Like if I got this person, like an appointment with this person, I'm not sure if I'd be able to do it, or maybe it'd be really weird to call. But if I saw them, like these would be like really good people to see. Or maybe it could help you get into some other like networks or circles that you want to be in. Taking a second to think. Who are my top 5? Customers. Cool. We're still writing. Nicole, who'd you put as your number 1? chicken list?
Miss Brady, my
Who-
counselor.
Okay, cool, nice. How do you know her? Just from like how long ago have you known her?
2 years.
Cool. Let's see. Who's your one? Who's your top number one? Top 5 chicken list customer.
It's Miss Russo.
Okay, who's that?
She is the mother of a friend, a friend that I haven't seen.
Okay, cool. Like an old friend. They
Yeah.
haven't seen it. It says mom. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, who's your number one? Top 5
Friends.
friends, mom. Cool. Are you still cool with that friend?
Yeah.
All right, cool. You just have never met the parents before, or?
I do, but like,
Yeah, it's like not like that. Cool. Very nice. All right, let's move on from here. So now, okay, again, if the name is getting appointments, you got to have the right people to call. You got to have the right numbers to fill the list. Here's also another thing to want to know, okay, is the best time to make the calls, right? The best time to get your phone time in so you're scheduling the most appointments. So let me walk you guys through kind of like when the best time to make calls are. So the first thing you want to think of is number one, we have phone jams every Wednesday and Sunday. So I'll just write Wednesday, Sunday phone jams are always the kind of preset times that we do in the office. Here's the other times that you want to keep in mind, though, okay? So the first one I'd say is just like I'll put PM phone jam or phone time. PM phone time, which is going to be any weekday. So Monday through Friday, not as much Friday, but mostly just Monday through Thursday, 6 to 9:30 p.m. Okay, any day, 6 to 9:30 p.m. is generally a good time to get a hold of people. Okay. Here's the second time, and it's my favorite phone time, and most of our reps' favorite phone time too, is AM phone time. Okay, and that is 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. Okay, now yesterday in training we told you to not act, think, or speak like a what? College student. Okay, so if you're a college student, you're gonna call at 8 a.m. You're like thinking like, what? Like, dude, who the heck is calling me right now? Like, what is going on? Like, you're like looking at your phone, like, what on earth, right? Look, if you're an adult, like, what time do most of your parents work? Yeah, 8. Sometimes they're like waking up. 6, 5, some of them, okay, depending if they have kids to the school and stuff like that too. So are really busy, successful people just available and, looking at their phones all day after 6 o'clock? No, not really, okay? In fact, they usually get blown up with a lot of other calls, so a lot of them like check out or they'll stop looking at their phone or they're getting other important calls and so they're not really paying attention to it. So in general, morning phone time, do solicitors call early in the morning? Generally speaking, no, right? But who does call early in the morning? Like friends, right? So like you just get a hold of a lot more people answer. People are in better moods. Like adults don't do what you all probably do, which is like, all right, let me set my alarm the last possible second I can possibly wake up and still make it on time, right? Or, and then like they also are usually in better moods when they wake up and they get, kind of in worse moods and more cranky and irritable throughout the day. Students are like the opposite. They like wake up and they're like groggy. And then like slowly as the day goes on, you like kind of come back to life, right? AM phone times are a really good time. Our representatives love that because like they'll come into the office and they'll get like, 3 to 4 appointments booked up in like 20 to 30 minutes of phone calls, whereas, might have taken them a lot longer, if they were calling in like the evening or something like that too. Last few things, okay, so the AM phone time, I'll go over some more phone times a little bit later today too. Let me give you guys some miscellaneous tips, all right? Miscellaneous. So first one I'll put down is 5 before, 5 after. 5 before, 5 after. So this is kind of like a tip that I share with most people, and only a couple people actually implement it. I would bet money that less than 3 people will do it in the room, or 3 or less. So basically the way that this works, okay, it's 5 before, 5 after. So you pull up to a house before you go in, maybe get there like 5-10 minutes early. You make 5 calls real quickly in your car. Usually takes about 5 calls. You book up an appointment. Okay, so boom, just booked up an appointment. Now I go on into the house, right? I just schedule an appointment, get out of the appointment, whatever, just made a sale. Cool, hop into my car on the way to the next one, either get there early or before I leave the driveway of that house, I'm making another 5 calls, boom, book up another appointment before my next one. What's happening here is if you do this, is you're constantly replacing all of your appointments, right? So you're not constantly, you don't have to have major giant phone jams because the name of the game is if you leave here today, let's say you got 15 appointments, right? If you do this for every single one, guess what? Every single time you do an appointment, rather than that number going down, like you put another one in your schedule, right? And so you're constantly reloading your schedule. So if you're trying to get the maximized amount of appointments, that's a really, really helpful key. I don't always recommend this, by the way. Like if you're just doing the job in general, like you don't have to make calls all day long every single day. I don't really like doing that. I just like to call twice a week, Wednesday and Sundays when I did. But when you're in a big push or like a fast start and you're trying to maximize your schedule, something like this can really help you take you to that next level. So, man, come on in. So last couple other tips, okay? Let's do this real quickly. Let me come up for air on all this stuff. So we went through a couple different things. What are you guys taking away from either the 4 gears, some miscellaneous tips, phone time, any of that stuff? What are you guys taking away so far? Not all at once.
It's 5 before and after.
5 before, 5 after?
Yeah.
Cool. Call on the phone time in the morning. Yeah, what else?
Don't be a chicken. It's like huge.
Yeah, don't be a chicken.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other ones? Sweet. All right, let's move on a little bit. So last few keys I'll give you, and then we're going to talk to you about how to set the bigger sets. Cool, we'll take a break. So first thing I'll give you, last thing is 10-8-10. So 10-8-10. Here's what this means, right, is this is all about mentality management. So, and I'll write down below here, I'll put down 10 push-ups. 10 push-ups, 10-8-10. So, couple of things. If you want to go for a big fast start in your big, big first 10 days, it's going to be 10-8-10. Like 10% of people in this room right now, most people, by the way, my goal is for everyone to hit their first promotion first weekend. So sell $1,000 before you come to advanced training. About 80% of the room will probably be there by advanced training, sitting at or around right about $1,000, $1,500, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. That's usually what most people are. Okay, 10% of the room, so probably like 3 to 4 people will be, at their second promotion already. So they'll be in the like $3,000 to $6,000 plus range. And then a couple people in the room will have a tough first weekend, and they'll maybe be at like less than $300 in sales. That usually happens every single week. It's about 10-80-10, right? The reason I share this with you guys is because it's all about mentality management, meaning like you don't want to get too high in the highs. You also don't want to get too low on the what? The lows, okay? So I'll give you an example, for instance. In terms of like first weekend performance and success, I've had people, I'll give you an example right now. I have had people that have gone out their first weekend and they have sold 2 weeks ago, I had a guy named Jill. He sold $8,300 in his first weekend on the job, and he did not have a 10K fast start. Now you'd be thinking in your mind, right, you sold $8,000 the first 2 days on the job, 3 days on the job. It's probably guaranteed to probably have at least 10K, in his first 10 days. But then what happens is sometimes people get too high in the highs. They have awesome success, and they're like, wow, this is awesome. I did this like no problem. And then they stop doing some of the things that made them initially successful, right? So they didn't really do any appointments for the week, and then kind of got to like Thursday, Friday, like, oh, I should get some more, and then had rough phone time. And then, had a couple, no sales, and then, didn't experience the results that he wanted, didn't hit it. I've also had people on the opposite end of the spectrum. I had a training class of 22 people, right? Or I think it's actually 23. And out of all the 22 people, right, I had one guy, the lowest performer, or bottom 3 people in the whole training class, right? Almost every single person in that training class was out of their first promotion. And Carlos Mesa, he was one of the lowest performers in the entire training class when it came to advanced training out of all 23 people. Out of those 23 people, he is the only one from that training class that had a 10K fast start. And he finished off strong and stuff like that too. So the point here being just that you just have to have the right mentality. A lot of times it's just getting the right amount of appointments. And if you can focus on the effort versus the results always come. So the reason I say you have 10 push-ups is because every once in a while, I always laugh when it's just, I'll have like someone come into my office and they'll come into advanced training. They did 4 appointments or something like that their first weekend, and they'll come into me like, hey Andrew, can I talk to you? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, what do you want to talk about? Let's go. And they're like, yeah, man, I don't know. I don't think this job is for me. I'm just not really good at it. I can't, I'm not making sales or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, how many appointments did you do? They'll say something like 4, right? Now, let me put this in perspective for you guys, okay? Why, if you only do 4 appointments, why is it probably not a smart or business decision to try to evaluate where you are at and how you're doing after only completing 4 appointments?
Lack of perspective.
Yeah, lack of perspective, specifically because you haven't done enough what? Appointments yet, okay? First off, what are the averages? Yeah, 7 out of 10 or 60% naturally. So literally if you did 10 appointments, the other 6 could all be sales and you'd still be right on the averages. You're not even behind. You should probably, like, on general, like most people get about 4 no sales out of the first 10 appointments that they're doing. Okay. So like you guys, number one, you just have to do more appointments to actually play out the averages. If you did like 30 appointments and you come to me and they're all no sales, that's a completely different conversation, right? There's like 4 appointments. Like, what do you guys think these numbers, what kind of sample size are those based off of? Yeah, thousands and thousands of sales reps doing thousands and thousands of appointments over time, right? That's like the sample size we're getting from. So like doing 4 appointments is probably not a good sample size. And so the reason I say, hey, this is 10 push-ups, right, is because like it's kind of like going to a personal trainer and you're like, oh yeah, man, like I want to get fit, I'm ready to roll, I'm really, really excited, I'm really, really hungry. Then you go into like the first workout of the day, you do like 10 push-ups, and then you like look in the mirror and you're like, I don't really see any results yet. I don't think this works, right? And it's like kind of like giving up yourself too. It's like just not really smart, like long-term, like thinking, right? So by the way, I'm not one to say like this job is for everybody. It's definitely not. And yeah, like I said, I'm not one to say up here and say like, oh, this job's for everybody. Everyone here, should do it. I think everyone should at least give themselves a shot. So by the way, if you're at the end of your training, you finished your 10 days, and you're like, hey, XYZ, I gave it my best. I finished my 10 days of training. Heck, I'll give people letters of recommendations and things like that just for finishing off. You have a great experience on your resume, and you learn a little about yourself in the process, right? But if you go out and only do 4 appointments and then like try to evaluate yourself after that, again, it's probably not a good point to be able to evaluate whether or not you're good at a job or not. Okay, so that's just the most important thing, is having mentality management through Fast Start. Kind of right underneath of that, the last rule that I write down is the 1/3 rule. So kind of breaking down those kind of rules, right? There's kind of 3 types of days that will happen in your first 10 days. Okay, you're gonna have your great days, your good days, and your bad days, right? We call them like the El Saco days. So, and it's gonna be about 1/3. So you have 10 days. You can expect about probably 3 awesome days, right? So expect 3 days where you have 4 to 5 appointments lined up. You go to the first one, they buy a homemaker. You go to the next one, they buy a signature set. The next one's like, I don't need any of this stuff, but I'll buy some gift sets for my friends and family because we already have a bunch of Cutco. The next one, they're like, yeah, I don't know, we're going out of town and we already have a ton of Cutco, but you get like they give you like 40 recommendations. And the last one, you get another sale, whatever. You'll finish off like 3 to 4K on the day, right? Those are great days, okay? An average day probably looks like something like you got 4 appointments, 5 appointments set up for the day. You got the first one, maybe make a $300 sale. The next one's a no sale. The next one you sell, $800 or so. The next one you'll probably get, 2 out of 5 or no sales. 2 are, solid, okay sales, and one's a good sale. You know what I mean? When you're selling over $1,000 or whatever. So you're finishing off about $1,000, $1,500 for the day from 4 to 5 appointments. That's like an average day. Now you'll get like probably about 4 of those during your first 10 days. And then you also should probably have 3 El Succo days. And that's like a day that like you have like 5 appointments lined up. You wake up, like the first 2, like the first appointment cancels on you. You go to the next one, it's a no sale. The next one, it's a no sale. The next one, you get to their house, and the customer's not even there, right? Because they forgot about it. And then like the last one, they just feel bad, so they buy like a table knife from you or something like that, right? And you also have some of those days, like Alex Arias, she's one of our AMIs. She sold 15K her first 10 days, but 3 of those days she didn't sell anything. She literally had like 4 or 5 appointments lined up where she had all no sales all 3 of those days. Now, it might not be that extreme, but the point is that, again, you got to manage yourself through the highs and lows. So if you got your first weekend, and you have like 3 amazing, awesome days, great. Hopefully that just keeps up. And if that does, you can go for something like a, 15, 20, 25K, fast start. But you want to plan for the effort, not the results, right? So if you do have those, don't assume that's always going to happen. You know what I mean? It'll probably average back out, and you want to just keep putting the work in that made you initially successful. And if you go out and the first 3 days are awful, like I said, that's probably bound to happen. You could get, 1/3 of those bad days could be your first 3 days out of training. But again, you just got to manage your energy through like the highs and lows, stuff like that. That's also why we're here for you. Cool. So we'll be able to help you out through that too. By the way, anyone, I don't know, any light bulbs there helpful for some people? Cool. Awesome. Last few things before we wrap up. I'll write down here is just communication equals key. So we're already talking to everyone from your appointments, and we're already talking to you guys a lot. But I'll tell you right now, every single person in our office that has a big fast start or a big first 10 days is talking to me, Eddie, or one of our assistant managers like all day long. I mean, it's like literally having a coach in your corner. I mean, like you wake up in the morning, it's like, all right, let me talk to the first one. All right, go in, boom, talk to them from the appointment, go out. It's like, all right, cool. Here's how it went. Here's what I'm thinking. All right, cool. Here's what you want to be thinking for the next one. Awesome. Here's what I'll be thinking for your goal for the day. And you're constantly kind of getting coached. Like every single person that's had a big one, like I said, they're getting the right coaching. So communication is going to be key along that process. The more you're communicating, probably the better it is. Okay. Now, it is always easy to communicate whenever you're experiencing great results, right? What is tough to communicate is when you're not getting the results, right? And oftentimes people like to hide, and they stop responding to text messages, or they'll start not making as many calls or getting the help that they need. But that's when you want to make the most call. That's when you want to get the most help, is whenever you are struggling, because you want to get help as fast as possible, right? So those are the last few keys. I also want to go over how to sell big and how to sell our 3 larger sets and sell some kitchens and things like that. Let's just do this quick. I don't know, from so far, for people that have been here for the meeting and stuff like that, what are you guys' top takeaways, or what are the top things that you've noticed so far?
You don't have to be kind of brave to do stuff. So for example, a chicken list and other communication. So don't shy away from responsibilities. But if you wanna get that start, go at it. Don't just
Cool.
You gotta be constantly doing something.
Cool. Awesome. So line up the schedule, the appointments right there. Andrea, you had some of that?
The 4 different types of categories and 4 gears to try to get all of them.
Yep. And the reason I call it the 4 gears, by the way, is because if you drive a manual car, do you just want to go first to 4th gear? No. What happens when you do that? Car stall, you break down, you have to go back to 1st gear, and then shift 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and now your car's kind of halfway broken along the way. Okay, same thing. It's your Cutco car. You just try to go front to them. All right, boom, recommendations. It's like, whoa, it's gonna your Cutco car is gonna stall. So you want to work your way through them, slowly. Cool. Any other takeaways?
Know your top 5.
Cool. Having your top 5 chicken list customers too. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and move on from here. I'm gonna erase this stuff. All right, and now I'm gonna talk to you guys about how to sell our 3 larger sets, and we'll take a break and kind of kick things off of the day. So. First things first is, so we got 3 sets. We have smaller ones too. I'm going to show you guys those later, but just these are our 3 main ones. So we have the Homemaker Plus 8, the Signature, and it's called the Ultimate in the book, but we just call it the Complete Set. Okay, so the Homemaker, the Signature, and the Complete. On the on the price for these guys, $12.73. Okay. $19.14. And $26.29. Okay. Now, by the way, before I even go into it, just to give you guys an idea again on how affordable these things are, think about it this way, right? It's like getting the 13-inch, 15-inch, 17-inch MacBook. That's pretty much it. Okay, they're very, very similar numbers, by the way, too. It's just like buying a MacBook or appliance or anything else like that for the home. Okay. Now, by the way, if this is hard for you to process this much money, adults, here's what I need you to do: go to South Beach, go to Brickell, go to anywhere else. Just sit outside the Apple store for about 20 minutes, okay, and watch how many Mac customers walk out of the Apple store with a little laptop bag in their hand and walk out, a little smile on their face, okay? And you'll see all different income levels, all different backgrounds, ethnicities, okay? You'll see every single person, and their mom walk out of there with that little store, and they're doing it with one credit card swipe. They're not sweating. They're not doing payment plans. They're just putting a credit card swipe and walking right out of the store, okay? So that's what I need you to do. But again, that's kind of like the perspective of what it is to give you guys a breakdown of the numbers. Now, let me go over kind of what each type of set. So the easiest way to sell them is knowing what type of person buys each one. Okay, so first thing you guys can put down in your notes is the Homemaker set, and I'll kind of walk you guys through each of these tools. So the Homemaker set. So the Homemaker set, and this is what we talked about in the manual. This is for families of 3 to 4 people usually. Okay, so usually it's mom, dad, and 1 to 2 kids. Mom, dad, and 1 to 2 kids. Okay, so let's look. Okay. This is for people that cook 2 to 3 times a week. So they don't cook a whole lot, but they definitely do cook each week. right? So, we call this a set for people who have to cook, meaning it's not something they really like or enjoy a lot, but they have to cook. This is kind of the set that most people would get. It has all of your basic tools, like 100% of the essentials. So it's got like one tool for everything. Here's the biggest difference, okay? So for instance, like when you go up in the sets, the other ones just have more variety. They have like more chef knives and things like that. The Homemaker set, for instance, has one chef knife. It's got one veggie chopper. So if you only cook 2 or 3 times a week, you got one of everything. That's all you need. Everything you need, you're good to go. If someone cooks every night, right, it's kind of like annoying to have like one chef knife because they're like, all right, wow, my chef knife's in the dishwasher. Now I can't like chop vegetables or anything. You know what I mean? So if they don't cook that often, it's no big deal. But if they do cook a little more regular, that's why we have the other options too. They have just a little more variety. So the Homemaker comes with the basic tools. You can get it with or without 8 table knives. Okay. We've gone through most of that stuff, so you guys are pretty clear on that one. Okay. So this is a set for people who have to cook. The next set question.
When you add the 8 table knives, does it increase the price or?
$12.73 is including the table knives. Yep. So that's the price including the table knives.
If they don't want the table knives.
It's it's $10.09. I'm gonna give you guys all the price breakdowns a little bit later. But yeah, without the table knives, it's even less expensive. So that's a Homemaker set. The next set, is the Signature set. So the Signature set, this is for families of, I would say, about 4 to sometimes 6 people. Okay, so it's mom, dad, and usually 3 to 4, but 2 to 4 kids. Okay, mom, dad, 2 to 4 kids. This is for someone that cooks 4 to 5 times a week, 4 to 5 like nights a week. So if they cook like most of the weekdays, for instance, like that would be someone that usually buys a Signature, right? This is for people, I call it the set of people who like to cook, right? So it's like not like they love it, they don't really enjoy it, but they do. I mean, like they do kind of enjoy it. Like they like cooking sometimes. It's not like their passion, but like whatever they like cooking. So this set comes with your basic Homemaker tools, okay, and then you also get the 3 customer favorites, okay? So you're gonna get the hearty slicer, the 5-inch petite santoku, the cheese knife, and the super shears are included in the set. So let me show you guys the 3 tools that it comes with. So again, it's got the customer favorites. It has the cheese knife, okay, which I showed you guys earlier yesterday, and we'll talk about a little more today. This is one of the people's most favorite knives. You also have the 5-inch petite santoku, okay? So this is kind of like the white knife, right? We call this the Mrs. Jones knife. Like this is the one they feature a lot on Rachel Ray and shows like that. So it's another chef knife. It's for veggie chopping, okay? Sometimes it's a little bit smaller, so again, more range of access. It has more options, and it's just really nice and light. Like a lot of people really enjoy this. And now they have like 2 different chef knives that they can choose. So one's in the dishwasher. They have another one. Now it's called a Santoku knife, which is a Japanese term. It's not something Cutco invented. It's a style of knife, and it means 3 in 1. Okay, so it's basically got 3 kind of types of edges in one. So what you can do is you can chop with it, right? You can also use the center and it's got like a wobble motion and mince. Okay, you can also use the top and you can cut things like a chicken or something like that. You can butterfly a chicken or cut a piece of like meat out or carve something like that with it. And that's your 5-inch petite santoku. So people really like that one. If you guys want to pass it around, you can. And then the last knife that comes with it, okay, is the hearty slicer. And this is like the Mr. Jones knife, okay? So this is another one of our most popular knives. And it's, first off, it's got like the weight and the heft of a regular chef knife. So it's really, really like, it's pretty heavy and hefty. And but it's got the double D edge put inside of it. So think about things that have anything that's a hard outside edge, like butternut squash, you like glide through, like it's butter. What's it called? So like think about like a salami or meats or something like that too. This is really, really good for like a meat and cheese kind of combo. I went over to a guy's house one time and he would literally just take this thing outside in the back and just like use it to knock palm fronds off, like clean right off the branches. Don't know if I really necessarily recommend that, but yeah, whatever, teach their own. So if you want to pass that guy around too, you can.
Would that be considered unconventional use?
I mean, it's probably not. I don't know. I mean, maybe, I guess. I don't know. It didn't break. So, yeah, you literally have to tell a company, like, hey, I use this unconventionally, like if they did. They kind of usually just assume that it's regular. So you guys passing the hearty slice around. So it has like those 3 tools, like 3 customer favorites. You also get the super shears included in it. Okay, so again, this is a set for people who like to cook. The last set, okay, by the way, here's the last thing that I need to mention. This is the first set. It comes with 10 table knives or 10 steak knives, okay? So this is the first set you can buy it with steak knives. Let me go ahead and show you guys the steak knife. So you guys saw the table knives yesterday, right? The table knives are awesome, by the way. They're really, really good. I am a big fan of the table knives. However, okay, once you use a Cutco steak knife, guys, you never go back to using a Cutco table knife, right? So the reason we made these is because some men just like didn't like the look of the table knives. They wanted kind of like more like hearty, Outback style like dinner steak knife at the dinner table when they're inviting guests over and things like that. So basically, we made the steak knife. Okay, now automatically I'll tell you guys it's a little bit more. It's bigger, it's a little bit more expensive. But I mean, I'm gonna show you guys a demonstration later. You all see this thing's the real deal. I love the steak knives. So the signature set comes with 10 table or 10 steak knives, right? We created the signature set in 2010. Like basically the homemaker set's always been our most popular one, but after so many years of people kept buying the homemaker set and then buying these 3 extra tools on top of it, and they're like, heck, we should just make a set out of it because everyone keeps buying this stuff. So we made a different set and like discounted it up. So because of that, guys, since 2010, the signature set is the most popular set that we have that we sell on a regular basis. Okay, so oftentimes, by the way, too, like the way you sell signature sets, just get them excited about the steak knives. I probably a majority of the signature sets that I've sold have been to people that would have bought homemakers and they really like the steak knives and they could only buy the signature set. They're like, oh, I can only get the signature. All right, we'll get the signature then because they want the steak knife so bad. So I'll show you guys these a little bit later too. If you have a steak knife in your first weekend, it makes it a little bit easier to sell for sure. So I'll let you guys know a contest later we can talk about. So that's that. That's a signature set, by far my favorite set. Okay. And that's like your medium in between set. The last one is the complete set. Okay, so here's what you can write down for the complete set. Here's the type of people that buy these. There are 3 types of people. Hey, give me water whenever I get the chance. There are 3 types of people that buy the complete set. The first type of person is anyone that like loves to cook. Like they genuinely enjoy it. Like it's like their hobby or passion, or like I know guys that will buy like they really genuinely enjoy golfing, so they bought a $2,800 Titleist. Okay, it's not like that's actually their passion, so they enjoy it, or they just have like a really big family, like they have to cook. It's kind of like they just have a lot of people in their family, so they cook a lot. So they love to cook, or they have to cook a lot, right? Sometimes I say that big family too is that the second type of person is like anyone that just entertains. So a lot of times people that entertain don't even cook very often, but like when they do, it's like a big deal. Like people have like graduation parties or like, the Super Bowl parties. And sometimes there's people don't even really cook on a regular basis, but when they do, it's like they cook a lot and there's a lot of different things going on. So those people buy the complete set because they just want to have everything in it. So that's another type of person. The last type of person that buys complete sets is just people that like nice things. People that like nice things. Like most of those people, will usually have a good amount of money and they don't cook at all. Like they literally just buy the complete set half the time just because it looks nice and they want the best. So a lot. And here's the deal too: they buy a complete set for the same reason why, like they have like a really nice refrigerator and a really nice stove and really nice granite countertops and everything else in their kitchen is nice. So it's looks kind of like a little weird to have like a little like rinky-dinky homemaker set, in the corner when they have like this giant, massive kitchen. So those people buy complete sets too. There's kind of like the 3 different types of people. The complete set, again, is for people who love to cook. And what comes inside of it, it has the basic homemaker tools. You get the 3 signature favorites, the customer favorites. So you have the basic tools, the customer favorites that come in the signature set, and then you also get the meat and veggie tools, the meat and veggie prep tools, or our gourmet tools. So you get tools like, I'll show you guys these real quickly. So like the ones that you see here, right? So like you're gonna get the 7-inch Sentoku, a vegetable knife, a cleaver, a salmon knife for like filleting the house, a petite slicer, a boning knife, and you get some other things too. We'll talk about these a little bit more often in the future. But biggest thing to sell them is just knowing what types of person buys the sets. This is the first set you can get with 12. It comes with 12 table knives or 12 steak knives. Okay, so I wrote it down as 12 table knives or 12 steak knives. Now, a lot of people too will buy the steak knife. They'll buy the stainless steel table knives. which I'll show you guys right now in our flatware chests, which are pretty cool. If you guys see a lot of people that already own Cutco, I would always show them this. In the back of your book, you have a flatware chest. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Eddie. You have a flatware, okay? So people that already own Cutco sets buy this a lot. Julia sold, like, how many of these our first weekend? Yeah, she sold like 3 or 4 of these. And they're like cheaper than normal flatware too, or like, excuse me, less expensive. So these are all the table knives. So they're just as functional as the regular table knives. They work awesome, but they have a stainless steel satin finish on the outside of them, and then it's got the small forks and big forks, small spoons, big spoons, and they're guaranteed forever too. So what some people will do though is they'll get the stainless steel table knives or the flatware on the sides. They'll have the table knives for like daily use, and then they'll put the steak knives in the block, right? So that's something else that you can think about too. Sometimes people will get they'll get 12 table knives and 12 steak knives, yeah, so it's an option. So again, any questions about the sets? All right, let me give you guys the breakdowns on like the 5-pay, by the way, so how much they are a monthly, right? So monthly, $12.73, that's how much? $275 on the 5-pay, okay? The signature set on the 5-pay is $412, and the complete set breaks down to $565, okay? Which is about, it's like $69 a week. It's about 100 something a week about, and then this one's about, it's like 130 or something like that. Correct. Okay, so that's the difference in the price of the week. It's about $30 different on a week-to-week basis between the 3 sets. By the way, to give you a breakdown, guys, okay, $275 is like a grocery bill. Think about it this way, okay? This is like going to Publix. This is like a trip to Costco. Like, that's pretty much how you break it down. Okay. So here's the other numbers too, by the way, to think about it. How much is it for like a family of 5 to go out to like Applebee's? How much are you gonna spend on the bill?
$200.
Probably like $200. Okay. How about put it this way, right? How about like somewhere like not even like the nicest place in the world, but somewhere it's nice, like like Cheesecake Factory, right? If a family of 5 goes out to Cheesecake Factory, how much is it gonna cost? Yeah, probably. Just do some math, by the way. Okay. Quick. I'm not even gonna do it on the board. Ready? Or actually, I will. You buy 2. If you go out, let's say family of 5, you go and buy appetizers, right? How many you probably get? 3. Let's say maybe you got 2, right? We'll say like conservatively. So you got 2. How much is an appetizer? About I think it's $15, right? So let's say you pay I don't know, $30 for them, okay, for the 2 appetizers, right? Then you go on and then you're getting drinks, right? So let's pretend only 3 people in the family can drink. So only mom, dad, and one of the children. How many drinks? Probably order like 2 or 3. 2, okay, or 3, okay. So let's say, and how much is a drink?
No, that's not 15.
Okay, yeah. So even if let's say they're like $12 or $10, I don't know. Let's say they spend between 3 people spend $70 on drinks total, or $80 on drinks total, which is, I mean, probably a low ball on it, right? But let's say $80 on the drinks, and then you have your probably drink for the kids too. I won't even add those on there, like sodas and stuff. Yeah, I mean it's like an extra $10. And then you have the entree, right? How much is that average price of an entree? Probably 20 to 30, 25. We'll call it $25. Now if you get like steak or something else, that's obviously a lot more, but maybe it evens out because someone buys a burger and someone buys a steak, and well, I don't know. So let's call it 25 per person. So you get 125 for 5 people, and then you have obviously it's Cheesecake Factory, so you're probably gonna get some dessert. Right. So how many cheesecakes we order?
5 cheesecakes.
Yeah, 5. Okay. Let's say you order 2 cheesecakes and just share. Okay. So again, we're trying to be frugal here. So we just order 2, $15 each. That's another $30. Right. And so that total before the bill, before tax, is gonna be I don't know, $255. Cool. Now can punch 7% on that. Or should someone put down your calculator? What's 7% of that? Well, I can just do it about, it's gonna be about 14. I mean, it's gonna be about like, I don't know, like
17.
Cool, $18 maybe.
19.
Whatever, I'll add $18 to that. So it's about, I don't know, what's the number on that? 200 and
73.
yeah, we'll call it 273. Cool. Yeah. And if you're a decent person, you're gonna tip at least what percent? 20%. 20%. So, and then 20% of that is gonna be how much?
54.
Okay, so another $54, and that's going to be total is what? 200.
327.
327. Okay, so that's conservative for a family of 5 to go to Cheesecake Factory. Okay, if you guys are all getting steaks, or maybe multiple people can drink alcohol, or maybe someone's feeling frisky or something. I don't know, whatever. You guys can do the math, but that's that. So that a little bit more. So a nice family dinner maybe is like going out to one of these or something like that too. But again, just think about it this way, guys. If they do that like 5 times the entire year, they just eat out 5 times less. I mean, the set pays for itself. So again, I'm trying to just keep breaking you guys down, show you how just affordable the stuff is. Now, so that's like something like these are really, really common. Something else that you can sell that's not as common, we get a lot of these too. We'll probably have like one person sell one this weekend. It's called a kitchen. That is like when you get, so this is like buying a MacBook or an appliance or anything for the home, right? Buying like a flat screen TV or something like that. Buying a kitchen is kind of like buying like a little mini home renovation, like if you put like a deck on the back patio, or if you wanted to do something like change up something in your kitchen. So the way it works is like they get they get a cutlery set, so they get like a knife set, like a homemaker signature complete. They'll get the cookware. They also get the flatware. And then they get all the gadgets covered. So like everything in their kitchen will be Cutco. So anytime they touch anything, it's like, we also have like cookware and stuff. I'll show you guys that later. We don't teach you them this weekend just because it's too much. Just try to train you on how to sell all this stuff. But once you're at 10K in sales, we'll teach you more how to sell it. But you can still sell it if a customer's interested. Just give us a call. We'll help you out with it. But basically they get everything together and they save like $2,000 in the process. But it's cool because anytime they reach for something, like they know the average home renovation, even if it's small, it's gonna be $30,000 minimum. Like some people are a whole lot bigger than that. So think about it this way: it costs like maybe $5,000, but they redo all their kitchen with Cutco. So anytime they touch anything, like they reach for it and they know it's always the best quality product. It's guaranteed forever. It will always work. They never have to spend another dollar on it, and they'll use it for the rest of their lives. Most people will redo their kitchens about once or twice in their lives. So that's like 30 to 50 G's each time. And so, doing it once and knocking out all the stuff for the rest of their life and they can pass down to their kids, it's not a bad deal. Now, those aren't super common. We get, one of those every like weekend or so. But just kind of having out there, because sometimes your customers will be like in a good place where it makes sense for them to do that too. So you guys can have that in the background in mind. Questions on that stuff?
Yeah, so the first number is a full price and the second number is
Monthly. And then I broke it down to like weekly.
Okay.
Yep. So it's about 70, 100, 130 breakdown. I'm gonna go ahead and erase this stuff. Questions? Cool. All right, here's what we're gonna go ahead and do, guys. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. If you came in, we're at the workshop, Lauren's gonna walk around the room and get your assignments, okay? So you guys can get signed in and check your assignments before you guys go in. And then we'll kick things off here in about 5 or 10 minutes or so. But if you need to use the restroom, get some water, let's do that, and then we will get started for the day. Cool. What's up, Nacho?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Can you sell the knife, like, a knife?
Yep. Yeah, you can. We're gonna go with all that. Yeah. So you can sell. You can sell anything. You can sell an individual knife. You can sell 100 of the same knife. You can sell a set.
Yeah, because my dad's probably interested. I told him about it. He's like, oh yeah, talk about it. I was like, oh yeah. So I can get a whole set. So he's like, I'm interested.
Well, when you do the presentation, we'll go over all that stuff today. So
we can go over like, oh, it's about because I know you said a 1 to 14, right?
yeah, we're gonna show smaller stuff. There's some smaller starter sets too. Like my parents had a starter set.
Yeah, so my one.
Yep. Now a lot of times you want to make sure you can show them all that stuff too, because sometimes when they see it, they want to
That'll change your mind, exactly.
So you just gotta wait for the presentation. Yep.
You want to see the
Yeah, I'm gonna have Eddie check you guys in there somewhere.
all right.
They have their sign-in sheet somewhere. Give me
Okay.
1 second and I'll see it. So.
When you're calling to schedule an appointment, is it different for a virtual appointment? Because I know a lot of them would ask like,
Page 18 in your manual tells you how to schedule a virtual appointment. It's like the same thing, but instead of saying, hey, I want to know if I can stop by at blank or blank, it's like, hey, I can actually do it right over the phone, Miss Jones. I want to know if I can give you a call at blank or blank time. And then you just make sure they're in front of the computer when you call.
Yeah.
So other than that, it's the exact same thing. But page 18 specifically goes over that.
yeah, because I want to do some virtual.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, we'll get you set up for that. Let me see real quick.
I'm actually planning to do a virtual too.
Cool. We're going to go over all of that. So everyone will probably do virtual this week.
Okay.
So you didn't sign in, right? You sign in.
No.
By the way, I forgot to maybe.
Oh, it is.
Every time I open up on Snapchat, you see that I lost like 50%.
No, also I forget to close it out of the background for this one.
You guys are better. Sign in with, you guys are different. But that would be.
No, that like my mom's taking.
Yeah. Yeah, wait, I got it, my God.
Also, like graduated high school, now there's the with all the friends. I just try to go to
Alright, so yeah. Good job. I have the best one city director.
Really?
I know that. One of my work from last time, this one, how to give it to me. Yeah, I think it's not so, I was like, alright, bet.
Hold on to it. I got you. Like a big thing is also like your parents work in like a firm or something, like a building.
Literally anything that's an association, an organization, or any sort of
I have a sense. What?
I can get a more introduction of what happens.
work is like, whereas like, mind you, 95% of the time, because the company's actually not buying.
Yeah.
So because of that, what I'm experiencing.
But yeah, most of it was Spanish, so like some of the words like
Yeah.
tough to do myself.
Yeah. That's really hard. Biggest thing on really easy, you can write it, like, translate it out, write it out.
Yeah.
So you just have the same approach, you just have to get okay. It's really a good way of learning.
How does that work for like presentation?
Same deal with manual, like virtual presentation.
Yeah, like, cause that's in English, the slideshow.
Yes.
Okay, so it's just like a translate.
Yeah, realistically, I mean, the idea is really be in English. Like everything that is just showing you on the TV show, just so you know,
Alright.
right. So realistically, all the words, everything that we
Yeah, it's all video.
it's all video. Like, it's just
So you graduated in 2016.
But you just graduated. Yeah. Wait. Yeah, because so no. She was definitely a different Ashley. You think Ashley did? No. Yeah, the girl thing was pretty Ashley, that was different. Yeah, you think it was the Ashley Reed that really can Jamaican kind of like that. Yeah. Right. I don't know. So actually doing the common yeah. That's the actor I thought was funny. I know that. She graduated. She transferred out. Yeah, funny about I've known her for a few years. Yeah, because they were good friends with Katala. Oh, really? One of the other guys in the office.
I'm just gonna leave this right here.
You're sure they have nice coffee.
Yeah. Hey, man, can you do me a favor? Well, I guess the numbers are still the same. I guess, okay, so it's not gonna Hey, there you go. So, you know your demo goal is then?
I have no idea. I was just gonna
You
do
want-
appointments today.
Alright, so grab, just so I can put some sort of number up. You just show, walk it through, I'll look at this.
Yeah, let's get it scheduled.
Alright. So I'd say tonight I'm busy, but all of Saturday. Saturday afternoon busy, but Saturday morning.
So just focus on getting your, so you got one with your mom tonight?
That's
Can you get any of it?
something I have to do.
Um,
I have like all of this pretty much. All of this.
so let's say she gets something going on in the middle of the day, on Saturday, you said?
Yeah.
Alright, cool, so what, 1, 2, 3, and then not doing this one, right? Like 4, 5, 6.
Oh, by the way,
maybe
how
one,
many did you
so
bring back
what,
with
like,
you?
maybe, what
Huh?
would be
You
your,
got scotch and
what do you think is your goal for
Okay.
Saturday?
I got 4
I'll
scotch.
say
That's oh, okay. So you're gonna laugh because we had 18.
So what goal for Saturday?
I was kind of throw like
Dude, I got there. I was like, oh my god. Dude, they were so chilling. He's like,
Guess who the blonde dude I talked about? And they were all like, Andrew. What were you talking about?
Alright, Eric's office. I walk in there and he's like, you guys remember that blonde dude we were talking about? And they were all like, Andrew?
The blonde dude.
Someone else told me that too.
Yeah.
Wow, I did.
So and then we on Friday. So what I would do is, by the way, if you can scoot in on Friday, I would try to do one right after American Sky while I'm going. Virginia was going to.
Second one.
Right. I changed.
But I will write. You have to write all those numbers down.
All right, cool. I'm just gonna guys update me on how many appointments you have booked up so far. Talia's. Anthony, how many you have so far?
Like,
Yeah, you know how many things got right?
All right. Ashley. Naomi, how many do you have so far? Dimitri, how many do you have so far? Daniel. Say again.
5.
Cool, Sam. 5. Max. 5. Nacho. 5. Cool, Jonathan. Rafael. Risa. Risa. Juan. Lorenzo. Andrea. Angel. How many appointments do you have so far?
5.
Ashley, how many have appointments?
Luisa.
How many appointments?
Oh, 5.
And then,
Here's the.
yeah. If you haven't, if you don't know it, or you haven't gotten it yet, you'll be getting it soon. We'll learn it. Including rope, leather, sample kits, blue books, all that good stuff. Cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gents, we're gonna go ahead and kick things off. We're gonna go ahead and kick things off right now. Again, everyone's attention. So we're gonna go ahead and get things started. The first thing we're gonna do, okay, today is all right. Raise your hand here's the first thing we'll do, okay. We're gonna help you get your appointments booked up, all right? So the goal for this morning is to get everyone to as close to their goal as possible, okay? If not hitting your goal, once you have hit your appointment goals, that's the first thing we'll kick off. By the way, now is a good time as approaching area, so you'll get a hold of a lot of people between this time. So that's why we kind of strategically plan it out here. After this, you won't really have time to make any more calls throughout the training today. So this will be like your last chance to get all your appointments booked up for your first weekend. You want to focus on booking up your first weekend first, so specifically Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you don't have your 2 money customers lined up for tonight, those are the first appointments that you want to do, right? So you guys are just looking at Eddie. It's cool. He's writing numbers, right? Look at me, okay? So you want to line up those first 2 appointments on Friday. Make sure those are your first priority. Then line up Saturday, Sunday. And if you want to book all the way to Monday, you can. I would not book outside of a 3-day window. You don't want to book past Monday, or else you'll get a lot of cancellations and things like that too. If they're like, hey, I'm out of town, I'm only coming back to town next week, you can set up a tentative appointment for that time, but you just would want to firm it up with them like a couple of days beforehand. Do not mistake that for firming up an appointment that you already booked, though. You don't want to do that the same day, then you're going to have a lot of cancellations. So try to focus on your first 3 days. You want to maximize those first 3 days. So that's what we'll go ahead and do for this morning. When you book up an appointment, you're going to say cha-ching and pull it down. We'll say silver cup. Now, raise your hand in here if you can read. Okay, awesome. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and put a list of things that you need to get done on the board, right? The first of which will be get to your appointment goal and hit that first, okay? Once you've done that, there are several other things that I'm going to need you all to do this morning. It will be all on the board. So before you come up to the board, come up to me and ask me, hey, what should we be doing right now? I want you to walk yourself through it and read down the list beforehand, okay? I always have one person that asks every single week, and then I'm going to have everyone point at you and make fun of you because you can't read, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to put the list on the board. We'll kick things off officially for the morning. Stay in this room, but you all can use the chairs or spread out, grab desks, use whatever you want, whatever kind of setup you want to do here, okay? Just stay in here because people are coming in for interviews and things like that, so I don't want everyone scattered all over the place around the office. So what we can go ahead and do is if you want to spread out, we'll kick things off. I'll put some music on. We'll get you guys hit your goal, and then I'll put the hit list on the board. If you're going out of town this weekend and you're already at your appointment goal, then you'll just start in right on the list. And then, again, spend some extra time role-playing and practicing. Question?
Can you go like outside just because when you're calling, there's a lot of people talking?
I mean, I might open up the back room and stuff like that too. That will give you guys another room to jam into. There's some more desks and things like that in there. Cool. So that should make it a little bit easier. All right, we're going to go ahead and kick things off, guys. If you want to spread out, like I said, I'll open up that back room so you guys can use it as well.
Andrew, by the way, today
Yes,
I booked my appointments. I have one with my mom at 6:30.
mean,
I
if
don't
it's your
think
grandma
that-
and your mom, I'm sure you can just text her if it takes too long.
Yeah.
Your mom personally, that's not a big deal.
So I just do the appointments and I call you guys after.
Yeah, we'll go over all the call-in procedures. Like I said to everyone else, if you haven't learned it so far yet, we're gonna go over all the call and how to do all that stuff today too. You'll learn it. Yep. Yes, sir.
If you don't have. Good. How do you? Should you ask? Is that a call?
Yeah, you want to ask. It says get directions on the phone call approach. Yeah, you want to make sure you have that while you're talking. Yep.
And as part of my training, I'm required to provide some initial training.
1 second, ladies and gents.
And you don't have to buy anything because you get paid just to show it. And I wanted to do 6 appointments by Monday to hit my goal. So I wanted to know if I could stop by Monday at either 5:30 p.m. or Monday at 7:30 p.m.
Question?
I can get from 20 to 15 because I'm making a message.
All right, cool. Well, you said what?
I wanted 20 and then I wanted 15 because something came up, so I
All right,
having
cool.
more fun.
That's fine.
Tucko was the line of high quality.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
And a few outdoor items. Okay, and also, I'd say
Yeah, we have Eddie is the guy to talk to. So he can. Eddie, do you have extra Spanish manuals already printed or no?
just hanging out in surgery, right?
All right. Preface, by the way, these Spanish manuals are. Yeah, it's a Google Translate Spanish. So if you're here's the deal. If you are good at speaking Spanish and translating, you're probably better off not using the Spanish manual because it's not good. If you're a little bit rough around the edges and you could use some help on the guidelines and words and stuff like that too, then it can be helpful. It's just, again, yeah, if you just want it as a reference, you can have one. You can also just email a copy. We have to print out the whole manual for all of it. So if you really need one, let us know. Now we can just email you one. Yep. Just check that out.
So like, I'm trying to fill up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday right now.
Yep.
I should take Saturday and Sunday. So after this, so then I have my second.
Supposed to tell Saturday morning.
Yeah. If I go for Sunday.
Yeah, you can go. You can get on Monday too. Yep. But focus on your first 3 days. Right? You can always on Sunday. You can always book more appointments for Monday, Tuesday. You know.
Okay, I'm having a problem because my phone doesn't work. Like,
Oh yeah, Rob said like the speakers work or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. So I went yesterday to go get a new one, but then the customer service was really mad and my mom got mad, so we left. So I've been using Rob's phone, but obviously he's using it right now. So
What can you use a what's it called? Headphones work or no?
oh, I've never tried that.
Yeah, I probably do. The
I don't
speaker's
have
broken. You don't have headphones?
Like not.
I might have headphones. Let's see.
Where do you
Rob, do you have headphones?
not, but I'm making starter kits for us.
Oh, okay, you're just gonna give your phone for now.
Andrew, can I give a song request?
What song?
Drake album? Just a suggestion.
I can't. I know. I'll play it, but I can't play it yet. I gotta get the silver cup. I've gotta get the clean version of it. Let me see if it's here. Yeah, I think there's an interview going in there, but you can jam for a little bit if you want. Just get to her. Eddie, what time is our interview today? Okay. And then we have another one at. Cool.